We did one in early in New Zealand. We went to New Zealand to do some, and I'd never even heard the word panel. Right?
Yeah.
I was just, okay, your panel is. I'm thinking, what's a panel? What even is a panel? And this operative led me across the way, wherever we were, Wellington maybe. It's a big show. Most of the town was there. And we got to this kind of thing across in the next hall, and then this guy just puts a hand mic in my hand. He says, okay. I said, well, what now? And he said, well, go on behind that curtain is the panel. Basically, he just pushed me out onto a stage. And I was on my own. And he said, I'll come back, 45 minutes, I'll come back and get you. 45 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul McGann.
Hurrah! I have dreams like this.
Do you? I thought you didn't sleep.
Well, so I have the dreams during the day.
Ah, okay, that's right.
Are there any other serious insomniacs in the room? Yeah, there you go. That's normally about the proportion as well. Like, a third of the world doesn't sleep, or doesn't sleep like you sleep. And so when it gets bad, like in a really bad bout of it, as serious insomniacs will no doubt understand, you have like little micro sleeps, and obviously if it happens in the car, you're in trouble. You should stop. You shouldn't drive. But I can have I can go into a dream, maybe just half a second.
You just did. I saw it.
Yeah. I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. Anyway, but it's been better recently, because for the last 3-4 months, since I found some medication that works. Now I've slept really well since March, April.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been great. It's changed.
Cool.
Yeah, completely. So it's a game changer. Who knew?
Well,
Get a good night's sleep.
Yeah. On the subject of game changers, Paul.
Yours. See what we did there? Neat little well, this lighting is like...
Should we turn it down?
Is it on a dimmer?
Yeah, he needs a nap.
This is like... it's like casino lighting, isn't it? 3 a.m. eternal.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, that's better, yeah.
That's kinder, isn't it, really?
Yeah. So, Paul...
It's game-changing. Go on.
Yeah. 20 years. You've been doing conventions for 20 years now.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I wasn't counting, but how about that?
20 years.
I can remember the first one.
I remember
Were you there? Were you there at the first one? In that London hotel, was it the Metropole Hotel?
I hate interviews who make it all about themselves, but I'm going to make it about myself for a moment. I met you before, it was a week before your first Doctor Who convention in Cheltenham, because you were with Harry Patch.
Oh, my word. Oh, at the Cheltenham Festival?
At the Cheltenham Festival.
Harry Patch, for anyone... you were about to tell them who Harry Patch was.
You do, please.
But Harry Patch was among a handful of centenarians. Yeah. Harry lived to, I think, about 112, but he had, at that time, he was one of 4 or 5 First World War veterans. He was a trench soldier in the First World War. And he lived so long that a guy who I knew called Max Arthur wrote this book, and basically it was a book about, the lives of the trench soldiers, in a lot of the kind of little diaries and journals, most often in their own words. And Harry, I shared a stage with this man, and it's one of the proudest things I can remember doing. And Harry, on that day, you were there, weren't you?
Yeah.
And he read his own excerpts from 1916 and 1917. Harry was at these big battles at Passchendaele and Vimy Ridge. It was astonishing, wasn't it?
It was, and you and Annie were doing some of the readings.
That's right. Me and my wife, we read other bits, but it was a proud thing to do.
Yeah.
I remember afterwards, and there were a couple of school parties in there, and Harry, like I say, he was about 105 then, but there was a table lined up, you would see at this function here, and Harry signed autographs.
Yeah.
Probably for the one and only time in his life.
And I got the book as well.
It was an extraordinary thing, wasn't it?
He's a lovely chap. But
he was an amazing person. Yeah. It was just a great thing to do. when I first started work as an actor, in fact, the thing in England that got me, it was the biggest break that I had as a kid when I first started was a BBC serial called The Monocled Mutineer, and it was his first. It's like one of my dreams. I say things and like people clap. It's great. And
does that happen at home? Like you say, I'm going out for dinner.
It does, but the kids give me a round of applause.
Just say some random things and just see if we get an applause.
No, stop it. No. But anyway, I was involved in this thing, aged about 23, 24, and it was a hit, and it got me my first movie. That's how you used to get along in those days. But it was a First World War drama, and it started an abiding and long-lasting interest in World War I, and that for years afterwards, me and a mate would we'd get the boat over to France and we'd go walking around over the old battlefields and stuff. And that was a thing. And one year, one big anniversary, it would have been the 80th anniversary of the Battle of the Somme, July 1st, 1916. So it would have been in the mid-90s. And because the 80th tends to be the last time that any surviving veterans, in any number, tend to be there. So, and there was the Cardinal of France and the President and stuff, and it was this big do. And that's the day we met Harry. In fact... And it was in the middle of the line at the Somme. I don't know if any of you people have ever been there, but there's the famous, the Lutyens monument in the middle to the missing, just the missing from this battle. 72,000 names on this stone. Anyway, so this is where this thing was held. A few thousand people, me and my friend, were there. And when the ceremony was over, we were standing on there were 4 or 5 of these old boys, these veterans, and of course there were TV crews there, and they were all getting interviewed. And I was on the fringes of these crowds trying to hear this old boy. And I was particularly interested because he had a Liverpool accent. So where I'm from, and I'm kind of listening, and he's talking to an Australian TV crew. And as he's talking to this crew, he catches my eye, this old boy, and he stops talking. And he points at me, and he says, "Are you that lad in that thing on the telly?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Come here." So I made my way to the front of this crowd, and I knelt down beside him. Anyway, we ended up singing old songs, and I'm crying my eyes out by this point. And somewhere on some Australian TV channel, I'd love to see the footage. Anyway, that's how I fell in with them. And he said, "We're having a bit of a party. We're having a party after this up at the tent there." And I went in, and they were all there, and I was invited. I was his +1 to this do, after the thing, and that's where we met them all. That's how it happened.
But I think you're talking more about your passion for history tomorrow in an interview.
Am I?
Yeah, I believe so.
Am I?
Yeah.
I don't read the programs. I don't know what's happening. This is all just off the cuff.
You are
okay.
now. You are now.
Yeah. History's I'm one of those lay history.
But history is a passion.
It's my thing. Yeah. And I left school early, but had I been clever and stayed on at school, it would have been history that I studied. Definitely. It's just a real love of mine. But when I go home from here, and beginning of next week, I'm going to do a few history festivals and bookshops with a friend of mine, Professor Frank McDonough, who in Britain, he writes the textbooks on Third Reich, Weimar Republic, that kind of thing. And I do his audiobooks. I read his audiobooks. So we have this nice relationship, and we do all these gigs together. We're going out. We're doing sort of 7 or 8. He's calling it a world tour. But it's about 10 bookshops and a few festivals. But that's my other life. Yeah. It's you can't have just one life. You got to have 2 or 3 different lives. It helps, It helps, keeps you sane.
Well, let's bring it back to this life.
To this life here.
So it's on record that when you got the gig of Doctor Who, you said, "Oh, I don't want to do conventions. They will frighten me. I can't believe it." But like I said, you've been doing them now for 20 years.
And well, at the time, it was a frightening prospect. Chris Eccleston was the same.
Yeah.
It's only 2 or 3 years since Chris has been doing them. And I remember bumping into him 4 or 5 years ago and I said, you still ain't done them? He said, no, well, why would I? And he had exactly the same attitude as I did. He said, well, why would I want to do that? Because Chris is shy. A lot of performers are shy. It's just one of those things. And Chris he's quite. He said, oh no, it would drive me mad. I said, Chris, man, I'm here to tell you that you couldn't be more wrong. Anyway, when eventually he did, we were all there.
Yeah.
And that London show, I think there were more doctors there on that day. I think there were 8 of us on that day in the London show. But we all watched Chris turn up and watching him kind of shitting himself. And he was kind of almost shaking. He didn't know what to expect. Yeah. And then I bumped into him at the lunchtime in the green room. I said, how is it? He said, it's fantastic. He was really relieved. He said, everybody's just great. Everybody's really kind. I said, I told you, but until you do it, you don't know that. And now he's kind of like I was. Now he can't do enough. But it's one of them things. But there's a film of that thing, isn't there? There's a little video of that first one I did.
Yeah.
And I was the same. I was like shaking like a leaf. And it's in this hotel in London, and the room, we walked out onto this stage. I was with Jason, maybe India Fisher.
Yes, you were, yeah.
And in this room, in one of those purpose-built hotels, and they have like conference centres. I think there's well over 1,000 people in there.
It was.
In this room. I know. I only know because the noise. I walked out, and the way it was lit a lot better than this. And you could, from here, you could only see kind of the first 10 rows of people. But then you see me walk out, and then this noise. It's like as loud as a plane landing. And then I just go to bits, don't I? I was like doing same arm, same leg walking. It was like, I'd gone, and I'm opening my mouth and this little mouse squeak comes up. I'm kind of terrified.
But the thing is, when I saw you at the Harry Patch thing the week before, I asked you, I said, oh, are you going to go to the Doctor Who thing? And you went, no. And then I see you in the bar afterwards, and I said, but you said you weren't coming. And then you went, like that.
Yeah. But it's like when like I said before you do these, I love doing this kind of thing now, as you can probably tell, for obvious reasons. It's friendly, it's social, it's all the things I enjoy. And if I didn't enjoy it, I just wouldn't come. What would be the point of that? But I adore doing them. But when you first start doing them, you have to sort of learn the ropes. I remember we did one in early in New Zealand. We went to New Zealand to do some, and I'd never even heard the word panel. Right.
Yeah.
I was just, okay, your panel is. I'm thinking, what's a panel? What even is a panel? And this operative led me across the way, wherever we were, Wellington maybe. It's a big show. Most of the town was there. And we got to this kind of thing across in the next hall, and then this guy just puts a hand mic in my hand. He says, okay. I said, well, what now? And he said, well, go on behind that curtain is the panel. Basically, he just pushed me out onto a stage. And I was on my own. And he said, I'll come back, 45 minutes, I'll come back and get you. 45 minutes. And talking like dreams, these are like the kind of nightmares you have. Like, you're standing in front of a crowd, it's only you, and you got no material. And that was it. They just threw you in at the deep end. I go, okay. And all I could just do was open my mouth and just start to speak. I don't know what I said. But when he came back 45 minutes later, which felt like 10 minutes, I didn't want to get off. It's that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Sometimes in life you just need to be pushed out.
Well, we're here until 9 p.m, so that's fine.
That's fine, okay.
That's fine. But I think where I'm trying to go with this, of you doing conventions for 20 years now, I think you've done something absolutely amazing this weekend.
What?
Doing the photos in costume.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Ken, who runs this show, Ken Deep, he recently persuaded me to have a costume made. It took some organising. It's the proper thing. It's tailor-made. We had to do it in stages. It came about really because I saw Peter Davison's one. The same guy made the same tailor, Stephen Ricks made Peter's, and it works a treat, So I thought, I want one of those.
Because you've described your doctors as having a bit of a swagger, and I saw you last night walking down in that costume, and I went, yeah,
that's what it's about, man. Yeah,
it was. I'll tell you what. As a Doctor Who fan, it was like, that is the Doctor.
When it's a good costume, it does the work for you. It kind of works. And this is a really nice costume. Anyway, but the idea being that and this is its debut. So today and tomorrow I'll be wearing it for the photo shoots, and then Ken's going to give it to me to take home. And what a nice thing. Yeah. No one leaves here empty-handed.
Yeah.
Like
it's
a
going
party
on
bag.
eBay on Tuesday.
Shut up. Yeah. No, but it's great. It's great. We.
Are you going to wear it to Big Finish recordings from now on? What?
What, in my bedroom? I could. Yeah. Maybe I'll just wear
the cravat.
Just the cravat.
And
nothing
just
else.
The cravat and the boots.
Just the cravat.
And the boots.
And the Sonic. Yeah. Now that's an image to conjure with, isn't it? Just the cravat.
So are you still recording from home for Big Finishes, or are you going back to the studio?
Now there's a choice. It's easier. We found out it's easier all round if we stay home. But if there's some kind of extenuating circumstance, or if there's someone I really want to see who's in the cast and they're going into the studio, then I'll go down to the studio. Yeah. My son's a musician, and he's got the top of the house, and his studio's up there. So he engineers. Ah. It's a small family business. Yeah. It worked out. That's since lockdown, that's the way it's been.
And is that your same son who is also in the audios with you?
No, that's his brother.
That's it, right.
Yeah. Sonny is now the one you're talking about. Yeah. He now works for Big Finish. They're training him to be a producer.
Wow.
It's great.
That is really, really
and he's
great.
And he's, of course, he plays Alex and the Earthly Child, and so he'll do another couple of those. But he's going to be, from now on, I think he's going to be producing Peter Davison's.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he won't be producing you?
No.
No.
No. No. That might not be a good idea. I don't even know why I'm saying that, but I don't know. No. It's like working with your brothers or something. It seems like a good idea at the time, and then,
Which is, we just mentioned your brothers, but that you did work with your brothers, and that was the sort of idea that, when Phil Segal saw the image of you in that frock coat and the wig.
Do you know that story? Me and my brothers, we did this. It was an 1840s period thing in Irish, the Great Famine story, and I played the priest. So the priest is I was long-haired. The hair was genuine; it wasn't a wig, and I was in this black frock coat, looking really doctorish. And Segal said, he was watching wherever he was. He watched it and said, "That's him. That's the guy I want." But when it came to it, he couldn't tell me and my brother apart. Mark, he didn't know which one it was. He couldn't remember. So we both had to audition. That's the truth. And that's why on YouTube you can find both Mark's and my audition for in '95 or whenever it was. Because Phil couldn't tell us apart. Yeah.
So let's get this question out of the way. Are you going to be in the upcoming anniversary stories?
I don't know. Well, I don't know. When
for the BBC?
Have they made them yet?
Yes.
Well, then no, I'm not in them. Is that disappointing?
Very much so. Yes.
The way things tend to work, you know this anyway, but showbiz being showbiz, and this is because often you hear rumours. Nearly all of the rumours you're going to hear aren't going to be. They're never going to be true because they tend to be predicated on the idea that I've heard from a source that in 3 months or 4 months this so and so is going to be in. It never works like that. Most of the things that we get to make, we find out about with about a week to go.
How much?
So that's how it is. It's always 11th hour. So if something was going to be shot 1st of September, we'd only be just finding out now. Are you around? Yeah. Are you available? We're starting on Monday. That's how it works.
Is that how Night of the Doctor came around for you?
Exactly right.
Yeah. So it was really short.
Stephen Moffat rang me. He said, if I were to, would you be able to? I'm going, well, show me a script. He said, I haven't written it. He said, if you say yes, I'll write it. I said, well, when do you want to do it? He said, Monday. And that's how we did it. And that's typical. That's how it is. For the most part, and generally, whatever it is, not just Doctor Who, when you work as an actor, it's about being available. Whoever's available gets the gig. That's just how it is. So that's why they wait to the end to cast things. And
I would assume that was the same with the brief appearance in the Jodie Whittaker story.
Yeah.
Where you've had that small cameo with Sylve and Peter and Colin.
It was cool, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Except my only disappointment was that I never met Jodie. She wasn't there when I went in. Yeah.
Have you met Jodie before?
No, I still haven't met her.
Ken, go book Jodie now.
Yeah. So, I'm building up to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, she wasn't there. I had to do my lines to a coat stand or something, or a piece of gaffer tape. Yeah.
And obviously you didn't get to do the robes because you don't do robes.
I don't do robes. No. Why do you think they did that?
It's so you could wear the costume this weekend.
That's what it is. Yeah. I don't do robes. Nice dialogue.
Yeah.
But that was great. And of course that was a relief. Finally, it only took me like 30 years, but finally I made it into an episode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems ludicrous, doesn't it? All this time. How long ago was 96? Nearly, and in all that time, I've done 300-400 audios. I've been on TV less than 2 hours, aggregately, in Doctor Who. It's nuts, isn't it? So, but the good thing is that there's still plenty of time, and the extra good thing is it's Russell T. He knows what to do, So I feel that we'll probably, again, I'm not starting a rumour. Don't get me wrong. But
look, they're all on Twitter now.
But we're all hopeful that we'll all get included. It'd be silly not to, really, wouldn't it?
Subject to work commitments and subject to availability.
Subject to all the usual caveats. But like I said, because it's him. Russell, even not just Doctor Who, but Russell, back in the UK, Russell he's Mr. Television. He knows exactly how to do it, what audiences like, how to follow things up. Obviously, Ankush is going to need, time to get his feet under the table, so to speak. Saw him in Barbie. Did you see Barbie?
No, I haven't seen it yet. No.
Yeah. Really? Still. Yeah, I didn't do the Barbieheimer thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we went like 2 days after, but I've seen them both. Barbie was funny. That's cool.
Do you recommend it?
Yeah, you should see it.
Okay.
You should see it. Ryan Gosling looks like he's having the time of his life, doesn't he? Absolutely having a ball. And Oppenheimer's brilliant. I really, really enjoyed that. Yeah. Yeah, go. Tell him I sent you.
Okay, I will. Are you going to pay for my ticket?
Okay, if you want me to.
Cool. Yeah. I'll see you in Bristol.
You've done me good turns in the past. Yeah.
See you in Bristol Wednesday? You home Wednesday?
Am I? Yeah.
I'll see you Wednesday. Anyone else want to come? Yeah. Cool.
I wonder if they're going to put it on, because it was shot on IMAX, wasn't it? It was shot on 60mm IMAX. They should put it on the IMAX. I'd love to see it on an IMAX.
If they do, we'll go.
Yeah, we should go.
Yeah. And we'll take you all with us. It's fine.
Yeah.
What attracts you to a role on television? What are the things that you look for, that you think, yes, that's what I'm looking for?
These days you tend, actors of any stripe, it doesn't matter how short or how long you've been doing it, we tend to be sent initially. You never get sent the full script. It's just it's a security thing. They send you a couple of pages of it. You may have to read a bit and send that back to them. So it's often quite, you've got to guess, trying to gauge what the thing is like. You might, if it's a series, they might send you half of the first step kind of thing. So in answer to your question, I look for, I tend to look for a scene that I can picture myself doing. It's a bit of advice that an old actor gave me years ago. He said, if you're ever in doubt, you can't decide if something, is it good, is it not good, I don't know. He said, try and find a scene in it that you think, yeah, that's a really good scene, I can picture myself doing that. That's the answer.
One of the things I've seen you in, which I thought you were absolutely brilliant in, was Luther.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That was good. You were good in that.
That's a really good case in point. When they very first made it, that's 10 years ago, maybe more, they sent me just scraps of it. I didn't really... And I did that crappy act, and that's another. It was on a Friday. They were shooting on the Monday. It was literally one of those things. And I sort of looked at it thinking, do I like this? I don't know. I said, okay, I'll do it, and didn't really read it. And then when I ended up in it, it wasn't the kind of thing I'd even watch.
No,
it's way too scary.
Well, it was sort of groundbreaking at the time. It was really difficult for the BBC to be putting out...
But I wanted to work with Idris. Idris is and Ruth Wilson. I mean, they're really brilliant actors.
Well, it's funny because Idris said he wanted to work with you.
Did he?
No.
I walked straight into that one, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah. But Idris, that was the reason. Just remembering a story. Saying like picking a scene out. Years ago, I was in this film called The Biographer, and you hardly ever see it, and because they won't show it in Britain. It's about Princess Diana, and in fact, I played there's a writer called Andrew Morton. Morton was a journalist, and Morton was the one she selected out of this sort of... They never met. But she saw him on the TV, and she decided that this would be the guy. What's going on? There you go. Andrew Morton. And she picked him out, and she got a message to this guy. And anyway, he ends up writing this famous or infamous book, which sold about 50 million. I mean, it made him a fortune. But I was sent this script. In fact, it was even weirder, because my agent called me and she said, this is a first. She said, I'm going to send you a script, but before I send it, you've got to answer a question. And depending on your answer, they might send you the script or not. I said, what? Who are these people? And the question was something like, are you... I can't remember the exact question, but it was like, are you attached in any way to the memory of the late Princess of Wales? Right? And I said, no. And they sent me the script. And everyone else, Brian Cox was in it, your man was in it, and we all had to answer this same question. We all ended up in this picture. And as soon as I got onto the set, Brian Cox, that guy from Succession, he said, bang goes the Knighthoods boys, but why am I telling you this? Why? Because in this script, and Morton was there, he turned up on the set. In the script was this scene where, like a few weeks in, what she was doing, I don't know if you know this story, I'll try and précis it for you. Princess Di, at this point, her marriage had foundered, she was seeing a therapist, her husband was making her see a therapist, and twice a week, and at the end of her therapy sessions, this guy who was colluding with her would then turn on this tape recorder, unbeknownst to everyone else in the palace. They were in cahoots just with the princess. And she would speak into this, he'd then ask her questions. She would speak into this tape for half an hour and send it to this journalist. And anyway, that's how it went. And Morton said to me, he said he was under strict orders not to tell anybody, couldn't even tell his wife. He told his wife he was writing a biography of Eric Clapton or something. And he went to this little office above this chip shop in Euston Station. Anyway, and he said, by this point, 3 weeks in, he said, I had all of these pictures of her around his wall. He said, this is how I used to do it, And he was getting sent these secret little jiffy bags with these tapes in. And after about 3 weeks, he said, he said, I got another one. Came to the post. I went back to my office and He said, and as I took it out of this bag, first of all, he said I could smell it. Perfume. It was her perfume. He said, now, as I reached in for the cassette tape, he said, now there's red on my fingers. She'd drawn a heart on the side of the tape in her lipstick, right? And he said, now her perfume's in my head. I've got her lipstick on my hands. He said, I'm looking around the walls at these pictures. You know, she was the world's most famous woman. He said, and I realized I was in love, right? And this was a scene in the script, and I said, I'm doing this picture. Just for that scene. You know what I mean? That was it. Yeah. That's the story. But that was the scene I thought, I've got to do that. That's just for that. Even if the rest of the film is shite. I want to do that scene.
And on the flip side, have there been obviously it's not really the done thing that you actors don't say, or I went up for that but I didn't do it, or stuff like that.
No, actors tend not to tell you that.
But is there one project that you can think of, I really wish I could have done that? Is there one that sticks out? You don't have to say. You mean
that I auditioned for?
Yeah, and you didn't get. Is there a project that is like the one that got away, sort of thing, for you?
Probably, but
it was the Five-ish Doctors, wasn't it?
Actually, yeah. You know what? That's about as. Yeah, that still rankles.
Did they
that rankles.
You? Did they forgive you in the end?
No. They still. We saw each other at the weekend, and they still bring it up. Yeah. You little liar, someone said to me. Yeah, I had to lie to them. Because Moffat had already rung me.
Yeah.
Don't tell the others, he said. Yeah. I know. Yeah, there's been times, but you know what? When you work as an actor, you win some, you lose some, and you just tend to move on. But it was the same shooting I remember when we shot the so-called movie. You know, the movie's a TV pilot. It's a pilot that failed.
Did it fail though?
But it failed its own one and only function in that sense. It never went to series. So, and when that happened, sure, that was a disappointment, you know. And you know, and I've never shot a pilot since. That's the only time I've ever shot a. And when you make, I'm assuming that all pilots are the same. You don't want to be defeatist. You make it in the spirit. Everyone on the set assumes. Because that's the only way of working. You assume, we're all going to come back in 2 or 3 months or whatever it was, and we're going to make the series. So that's how we did it.
You were really committed to it though, because you'd looked at houses
to make a pilot, you sign a contract. I signed a 6-year contract, and that's a standard thing. It's completely one-sided. If the pilot doesn't go to series, they just dump you. But if we'd gone to series, I would have belonged to them for 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
So you could, and you could have gone on maybe an extra year and a bit, and you could have been longer than Tom Baker.
Yeah. Anything could have happened. Yeah. And even halfway through, and I've told this story before, but just because it was all going to happen, it was all going to be great. Our children were little then, and they were kind of primary school age. So they showed us a few schools around in Vancouver. The kids were going to be Canadians. We looked at houses in the Bay, and it was all going to be, I was going to get rich, and it was all going to, and that's, and of course, that's the spirit you have to work in. It's all going to be great, until it isn't.
I want to ask you about your friendship and relationship with the other doctors.
Okay.
And do you know what tomorrow is?
McCoy's birthday.
Yeah. And how old is he tomorrow?
He's 80 years old tomorrow. On Sylvester, yeah. A little bit like, did you see that? I don't know if you saw the videos of Mick Jagger turning 80 last week. But Keith Richards made a little video, didn't he? And because he's still 79, and he's saying, "What's it like, Mick?" What's it like? He's winding him up. Well,
it's funny you should say that.
Because McCoy was doing it to Colin Baker.
Yeah.
Because Colin's already...
Yeah, Colin turned 80.
Colin's already 80, yeah. And McCoy's going, "What's it like? What's it like, Mick?"
Shall we do a video for Sylv and send it to him tomorrow? Let's do it.
Yeah, come on. You all got to join in. Yeah. Should we sing to him? Should we do the deed? I think we should.
I'll send it to him.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
No, he'd be thrilled.
Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I've got to put it on video. Okay. Yeah.
Who's going to lead the singing?
You do.
McCoy, this is for you. Happy birthday to birthday, Sylvester. Happy birthday to you. Woohoo! There.
I'll send that to him tomorrow.
80 years old.
80, yeah.
I know. Great thing about being an actor is you don't have to stop. Nobody, you don't have to retire. No one's going to make
There's
you
no
stop.
stopping McCoy.
There's no stopping McCoy anyway. No, there's just no stopping him. Every weekend of his life, he's doing something like this. He's on the move.
Yeah.
And I once said to him, doesn't all the traveling kind of just get to you? He said, no, I adore it. He genuinely likes traveling. He's that rare thing that he likes trains, he likes planes, he doesn't mind being on a bus, he doesn't mind being on the move. And he's got this beautiful house in Hampstead in London, and he's never there. He's just never there. No. He's never there.
Or he's in the one in France.
Or he's in the one in France, yeah. He's done okay, McCoy. He's done okay, McCoy. Still getting away with it.
So, is there a classic Doctors WhatsApp group? Do you have each other's number? Do you have like a little group chat?
Not a WhatsApp. I don't know. Yeah, we have that. Yeah, we have that. It's important that we keep in touch. It's important that we talk. McCoy was a friend anyway. When we back in '96 when we did this. I'd known McCoy for a few years. We got mutual friends, and so that was nice. He was out there for the first week or so, and he kind of held my hand and got me through it. So it was great to have him there. And weirdly, I know you know this story already, but my agent who did the deal and who got me into it was Janet Fielding. She was a theatrical agent then. And I hadn't twigged. We'd never had the conversation. No. It hadn't occurred to me to have the conversation about it. And so she came out, so she was there for the first week. But it was great having McCoy around. And Daphne Ashbrook, I remember, because it was like it's 10 minutes to midnight. They were all night shoots. It was like 3 weeks of night shoots in Vancouver, and it was January. And there we are, 1 a.m. On the first night shoot, and I'm sat there in those chairs you have, those actors' chairs. There's McCoy and there's Daphne, and I heard Daphne turned to McCoy, and I heard her say to him, "Can I ask you something?" And he said, "Yeah, anything." And she said, "What is this?" Right? And McCoy just threw his head back and laughed. She didn't have a clue. She was one of those Americans that had never heard of Doctor Who. Nothing. She'd taken the gig, but she didn't know what it was and hadn't a clue. And McCoy spent the next 2 or 3 nights in between takes filling her in, giving her the whole of the, whatever it was then, 30, 40-year history of it. And now Daphne is like fan par excellence. She knows the whole thing.
I believe she even organises her own events.
Yeah. But
that
she literally did that.
Joke just fell flat then, didn't it, really? Yeah. I'm going to open up questions to the audience. If you've got a question, raise your hand. You're going to have to project. Let's go to McCoy.
Was that a joke? Did you just tell a joke then?
I don't do jokes. Yeah.
William Shakespeare walks into a pub, landlord says, "Get out, you bard." You can have that.
Thanks. I'll use that later. Yeah.
Skeleton walks into a pub, asks for a pint of lager and a mop. Dad jokes. I've graduated to dad jokes. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes. Your question, please.
Yeah, so as understand, the Doctors had in audio a lot of different companions, human, alien, past, future. So I was wondering if you could, if you do know, just if your Doctor's going to travel like a new character, another character who doesn't exist yet, what might you want them to be like? Is there a character concept?
Preferably cleverer than the Doctor, right? And female. That's my first answer. Some smart, ultra smart female entity.
Well,
for a kick-off.
That sort of happened as a one-off with the Shada, with you and Lala Ward.
Quite right too.
Yeah.
Thank God you're here. That's absolutely true. And it works.
It worked really well.
Yeah. I've got a thing about clever women, as you can probably tell. Anyway, that's another story. But yeah, but that's my first.
Yes.
Hello, little boy. Have you lost your parents?
So, Paul, I just want to ask you, how come you never age?
What kind of question is that? It might be because I don't sleep. Maybe we age in our sleep. I don't know. No, I got Time Lord. Yeah, I'm going backwards. You flatterer.
Yes, Paul McGann. Ask Paul McGann a question. Paul McGann.
So I watched your film with Neil and I.
Yeah.
I noticed in a couple of background shots in your apartment that there were pictures of silent film actors such as Harold Lloyd, Louise Grubbs, Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What idea was it to put those on? Was it your idea?
Can everyone hear the question? Whose idea was it to include in the film with Neil and I on the set to include? I think that's right. There's a Chaplin poster. There's Harold Lloyd. That would have been the decision of the designer, a genius, incidentally, called Michael Pickwoad, who incidentally ended up designing Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah. Years and years later. An absolute genius. When Bruce Robinson, who shot that picture, walked, and the first morning when we walked onto the very first set, Bruce burst into tears. He said, this is exactly like it was. The designer has found these things. He's made it. He's recreated the thing for real. No, it was him, genius man, Pickwoad. So and as for those who don't know, a film designer gets also to have a say in the costumes and every element of what goes on the screen. But he was particularly brilliant.
For those of you who don't know, Michael Pickwood designed the Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi TARDIS set.
Yeah, same man. Yeah. So that's nice. It's a nice connection, isn't it? Between Withnail and Doctor Who. Yeah. But even that little. But otherwise, There's another bit in the film where the character I play, where he's had his hair cut off, it's near the end, he's leaving, he's packing a suitcase, and on top of the suitcase there's a book. But that's the director's idea. Obviously if it's in the story, it's the director's idea. He would have chosen the book. But those posters, no, that was Pickwoad. Yeah.
Let's go to the gentleman right at the back there. Yes, you, sir.
When you did the Night of the Doctor, that little episode in 2013, how much advance notice did they give you, and how long did it take to shoot?
Advance notice about a week. Yeah. I could luxuriate. Yeah, in all that prep time. It was about a week, and we shot it on one day. I think we might have gone over to maybe an hour or so the next morning.
You did.
We went. Yeah, we did. In fact, yeah, we did. They drove me to Cardiff, and we in a blacked out car as well. It was proper like Secret Squirrel. And they checked me into this hotel, Mr. Smith. It was all that kind of caper. It was really secret. And when we went in, it was a Sunday. That's right. We shot on the Monday and a bit of the Tuesday. But they had then. It was the set of the 50th, the big 50th thing in Cardiff. And the party was still going on. The Rat Party had been the night before, and there was like a few people still doing the walk of shame,
that Matt Smith, I tell you. Yeah.
But we shot on that Monday. When you make a film, generally speaking, you shoot sort of, depending on the format, 35 mil, you might shoot you're aiming for 3 or 4 minutes a day of screen time. That's good, that's healthy. TV tends to be, it can be anything. But, so that's about right. It was going to be 6-7 minutes long, so that would, it was a day and a bit. Yeah, it was quick. It was really quick. And some of it was really off the cuff. There were quite a few times during that day, Moffat would hand me bits of paper. Yes, say this.
That's how they got the companions' names.
That's right, that's companion names, yeah.
Charlie, Kerry's, and
so forth. Yeah. Which is a nice moment.
Yeah.
He said, look, on a bit of paper, so I had to look at it. I said, give me 5 minutes, it's like it's a bunch of names. But it was a lovely thing, and I did the import of it escaped me. It's just a bunch of names, but it was only when we'd done it I thought, oh, that's what a nice touch, because suddenly they were sort of canonized.
Well, I remember during the pandemic we did a Zoom with India and the actor who played Keriz, and they were so grateful because they were like, we've been canonized.
Suddenly they were part of it.
Yeah.
So Moffat knew what he was doing. Yeah, he was there. A few people were there, sort of watching. No, it was a hoot, but quick. I just thought it was a superb, on Moffat's part, I mean, a really superb bit of writing. When you think, it's only 6 minutes long. And you got that character, there's another character in it, there's the Cass woman, there's that crash at the beginning. There's a fight with her, the sisters, he goes to another planet, he gets bored in the middle. You know what I mean? Like, bring me knitting.
Can I
then there's going to be something, then he dies, then there's a regeneration, and John Hurt, or whatever. All in 6 minutes, and you never feel that, you're being dragged through it. It doesn't feel rushed. It's a piece of genius. Really.
I just want to say that isn't a photo of last night of Paul.
It could well be, though. I never quite got to that. But
let's recreate
it. That's when he's just been told.
Yeah.
The sister has just told him that he's dead. In fact, he's dead.
Yeah.
That's the face you pull when you don't know you're dead.
Yeah, but
this is an acting masterclass, right? That's what.
And bring you some knitting.
Bring me some knitting and a caper. Yeah, it was great. Yeah. And then, and of course, this little 6 minute thing was going to be. The intention was it was going to be a red button thing for the big anniversary for the 50th. It was going to go out with the rest of the stuff on the 22nd, 23rd. But on the 14th, which happened to be my birthday, Moffat texted me in the morning. And he said, look, brace yourself. If someone is threatening to leak it, so I'm going to put it out now. Happy birthday, kind of thing. So it had that, whatever it was, 7-8 days to itself. Yeah. Which is also part of the story. So, like 2 million YouTube hits and that kind of thing. So it got its own momentum, which is great. It felt nice, And people were genuinely thrilled and surprised, Lots of people since have said, "Oh, I remember where I was that day when we heard, really nice, a good thing to happen."
Yeah, I think everybody in this room would agree it was absolutely amazing.
But also kind of, slightly kind of sobering too, just to think somebody was going to leak it. I know we live in that age of sort of spoilers and which I don't like, but. People are mean, aren't they? They can just be mean. Yeah. And for us, of course, we have to keep things secret. You sign bits of paper saying, but it's easier to keep things secret if all you need to do is not say anything. Yeah. That's one way. That's easy. Anyone can do that. But but if you've got a copy on your hard drive, if you worked for one of the departments and there's all kinds of copies of it everywhere, that's a different matter. But people can be mean.
Sadly.
Alas.
We've got time for one last question. I'm really sorry, guys, but Paul is doing another interview late tomorrow.
Am I?
You are, yeah.
Okay.
And remember, he's taking us all to the cinema.
Oh, is that the history one? Are we going to talk about history tomorrow? Nice, okay. Any particular period?
It's not me doing it.
Oh, isn't it?
No. You get a better interviewer tomorrow.
Okay.
Let's go to the gentleman with the Tom Baker burgundy scarf. There we go.
I just wanted to say you've had several appearances and different costume variants as the 8th Doctor. I was just curious if you had a personal favorite variant of the costume.
It's the one I've got with me. It's the one. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Finally, it's a. I like this costume, but and the one now is that, it's a modification of that. It's essentially the same, but as opposed to the one in the movie, which looks gorgeous, but it's so formal that it's like you can't imagine having a fight in it or working in it or running in it. It's their dress clothes. That's what I like about the kind of more, once the sort of War Doctor era happens, it feels more like clothing now. I like it. But really, in between, 10 years ago, it was mainly just to keep us interested and to change the photographs. We realized, well, yeah, because you get a little bit bored with the same photos. So we made a different couple of costumes.
So a Big Finish going to give you a call next week, get you some photos for their covers?
Well, no, we're going to do a session.
Fantastic.
When I get back, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, Jason has organised a session, so we can change the covers, get some new photographs, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I look forward to that. But yeah, the one I've got now is fantastic. Well, as you'll see, in about an hour, and I'm going to put it back on again.
Yeah.
What?
The photos.
I could if you want me to. I could. Yeah.
No, the Big Finish photos
Yeah.
when they do it in the car park.
Yeah, we're doing it in the
Just
car
very
park.
quickly. Oh, well, no, they can't do it in the car park. He does them all from home. He's just going to be in the boots and the cravat.
That's it. Oh,
With the Sonic, yeah.
that's an image you can't even unsee, can you? Once you've.
But I think a lot of people might be happy with that image.
Stop it.
Paul, it's been lovely.
It's been a pleasure.
Chatting with you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul McGann.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Wilson Cruz from Star Trek Discovery, and you're watching Fandom Spotlite. Be sure to like and share, plus have fun and follow your fandom. Doctor's orders.